Alright, so we're checking out the Foxeer Aura 7. This is a DIY build. They don't have a bind-in flag for this. I did a frame video, I think it was a few months back. And yeah, it took a while because they sent me the wrong flight controller. And so if you want to see the frame review and the parts that I used in this one, I'd go over in detail in that video. I'll link it in the video description. I'm just going to talk about the build and how it flies in this video. And the reason it took so long is, first off, they sent me the wrong flight controller. So if you saw in that previous video, the flight controller that I got was the 20x20 flight controller. And I thought, okay, maybe I can make an adapter or something. But it turns out that this frame only supports 30x30 mounting. So you can see here, these long screws that go through the stack there. There's no 20x20 mounting at all. And even trying to use an adapter on top of the 30x30, it didn't work out because it was too tall to fit in here with the battery strap. So I gave up that idea, asked them to send me the 30x30 flight controller, which is actually better because it's made for the air unit and it's got the 9-volt regulator on there. The 20x20 does not have that. So it turned out better, and it's actually better for this build because it's just it's a better flight controller, and you're not really you're just saving a couple of grams and losing all those features for a 7-inch build. So I had to wait about another month for that, and then I got started on this build, pretty much finished everything, but I didn't have the MMCX to SMA adapters for these antennas. I wanted to use these Foxeer antennas, these Lollipop 4s, and I did not have the adapters for that. This kit does not come with those adapters. Like on some kits, they will send you things that you might need in terms of parts, but this one does not have that, so keep that in mind. You will need about I think mine's about a 7cm MMCX to SMA adapter, and I couldn't find, there was longer ones available on Amazon, but I couldn't find anything that short. So I had to order some from AliExpress, and those took about another month. So yeah, now we're in August, so yeah, sorry it took so long. Actually, at the time of the recording of this video, yeah, it's been a couple months now. So anyway, the build itself, pretty straightforward, really. If you go back and watch the frame review, I'll talk about how the frame is put together, so go watch that video. But once you put the frame together, it comes together fairly easily. You want to put the air unit in first, which is what I did here. And my DJI camera, this cable here is just barely long enough to mount into the camera cage. Did not have to get a longer cable, just barely fit. And I ran it underneath the 4-in-1 ESC, so you have to mount the DJI system first. And so basically I mounted the air unit into the TPU part here, put that onto the standoffs, and then mounted the camera and laid that down first. And then I went ahead and put on the 4-in-1 ESC, which by the way is a 65 amp. This new Reaper is a 65 amp 4-in-1 ESC. It's got BLE32. It's pretty nice. It's like the latest and greatest. Yeah, 65 amps. I don't know. Some people say that's overkill for 7-inch. Who knows? I mean, people complain about tiny whoops having only 5 amp ESCs. Maybe next year we'll see 65 amp ESCs on the tiny whoops. Who knows? Yeah, so it's a big ESC. In my opinion, it's going to be able to cover this because mainly you're going to be doing cruising with this one. I put these 2806.5 GRC 1350 kV motors on here. I did talk about that in the previous video. These are made by SpeedX. I've had these for a while, but these are, typical size for a 7-inch. Great for cruising and straight line speeds, but definitely not good for acro. If you're looking to do some monster freestyle tricks with this frame, probably not the right power setup here. And if you're like, well, I want the right motor for this, you're probably need a way bigger motor and a lot more battery if you want to do that kind of flying. So, but I don't do that kind of stuff with these kind of frames because I think it's kind of ridiculous. So I'm not going to talk anymore about that. I did mount my Express LRS receiver here in the front. There's a little space right here, and then the antenna's out front here. So there is a little TPU part here for the back for a Crossfire Immortal T antenna. I guess I could put it back there, but I always prefer my antennas in the front. I think that's the optimal position for the antennas. So I just zip tied it to the front there like that, and it seems to be fine. That's where I would prefer if they would actually offer a different TPU part there for the front bumper that would protect the antenna as well. That would be nice. So maybe you'll see that in a future revision. There's plenty of space here for big batteries, so I just used this 3300 6S here. Fits on here, no problem. Plenty of space, even with the Hero 10 in the front here, no problem. I printed my own camera mount for the Hero 10. I'm not sure if they have one for this one. You'll have to ask Foxeer if they have a GoPro mount for theirs. I saw photos of them on, I think, on the frame box, but they told me that it's not included, so they may be selling it separately. I'm not 100% sure about that. All right, so let's weigh everything here. This is drone GoPro mount, no GoPro, and let's see, we're coming in around 629.7 or 630 grams, so pretty heavy. That's normal. And we'll put the battery on here, 3300 milliamp hour 6S. Now we're at over a kilogram, 1063 grams on the nose, and then we'll throw on our Hero 10 black. And now we're at 1.2 kilograms, 1218.6 grams. So yeah, 7 inches are heavy. Okay, so in terms of the tuning, I didn't do anything special here, so there's no CLI dump. All you gotta do is flash Betaflight 431, which is what I did here, and then I just used one of these 7-inch presets, slap that on, put on my rates, did no tuning with the filters or the PIDs, so no CLI dump is going to be provided. I'm pretty much going to be doing that going forward. I really hate tuning, and I love these presets. They make flying these quads a lot easier, saves a lot of time, and I would highly recommend them. Also, manufacturers like iFlight are tuning their quads and then putting their basically their dumps in as presets into the Betaflight configurator. So if you don't know what those are, I highly recommend you check them out. They have presets for all kinds of different quads, different sizes, and it's a very easy way to basically just slap on the latest Betaflight, put on that preset, and you've got basically all the PIDs and the filters. No tuning necessary, and no mistakes being made by putting in a wrong CLI dump into your quad and burning your motors. I've had so many of those happen at, it bothers me that people are burning motors because of their lack of knowledge of how to use CLI dumps appropriately. So I highly recommend going the preset route, Betaflight 431, and the 7-inch preset on this one. That's how I flew it. You can see the footage here from the GoPro, ultra smooth. This thing flies like butter. That preset works great on this one here. It's a typical 7-inch frame, dead cat, 2006.5 motors, tons of 7-inch used. This setup here, really nothing, unusual here or out of the ordinary. So not surprising that a preset tune in Betaflight configurator works great in this. And yeah, that's all I gotta say about this one here. It flew awesome. The fact that they don't make this into a bind and fly yet just kind of bothered me a little bit. I mean, they've got all the Foxeer parts here, the frame, you got your antennas, I think, and of course you got your stack, your flight controller, and your 4-in ESC. I had to use GRC motors, unfortunately, because Foxeer doesn't make a 2806.5 motor or something in this 7-inch size. I think the biggest one they make now is like a 2207 or something like that, 2306, typical 5-inch motor. And I'm told they're not going to be making any 7-inch motors anytime soon. So that's why I went with this setup here. But of course, maybe in the future, if they come out with a 7-inch motor, we'll slap this onto this frame. I do like this frame. I'm going to be keeping it. How does it compare to the Chimera 7 Pro? That one's probably approaching 2 years old now. I'm not 100% sure about that. Maybe a little over a year. So yeah, it's got an older version of Betaflight. I haven't done any updates on that one. That one still flies great. This one's a little bit different setup here in terms of the front. The camera is a little bit better protected than the Chimera 7 Pro. I think this one's a little bit lighter. The battery area is about the same length. But in terms of the way it flies, with the preset tune and everything, it flew great. And probably just as good as the Chimera 7. But I haven't done, I don't know if I said the Chimera 7 Pro previously, but I meant the Chimera 7, the original Chimera 7. The Chimera 7 Pro is a 7.5-inch prop, so it's a kind of apples and oranges. Much bigger motor than that one, so I would recommend watching that video if you want to see my comparison of the Chimera 7 Pro to the original Chimera 7, because this one is more like the original Chimera 7 with the 2006.5 motors. So keep that in mind in terms of what kind of battery you can carry, etc. Anyway, that's going to do for this video. Let me know if you have any questions. I'll talk to you guys in the next one.